option. So why on earth would anybody choose it? Hey guys, it's Martin Cliffe. Welcome to another episode of Music, Minimalism and Mental Health. And we're continuing down this mental health vein of looking at shame and overcoming shame and why that's so important. And a large proportion of this particular talk is lifted pretty much wholesale from an introduction I gave at church a few weeks ago. So if you heard that, you've already heard many of my thoughts. But no, this kind of whole thought of why do we choose to bear shame when we don't have to? And then why do we choose to impose shame on other people, particularly young people, children, people we meet in the street who we don't really know, but we want to make them feel bad? Surely none of this is a sensible way. Surely none of this is a positive, good way to live. And surely all of that is going to negatively impact our own mental health and the mental health of those around us. I saw I think it was a cartoon meme the other day where I think there was like a lady breastfeeding her baby, nothing more natural in the world, and there was like an other lady kind of walking past looking all haughty and saying, "Have you no shame?" And the lady who was feeding her baby said, "No, why would I want that?" And that got me thinking, because shame is something that many of us carry for long periods of our life when we have no need to. When we spend our lives thinking far too much about what other people think of us than what actually matters, which is how we see ourselves, and if we believe in a God, how God sees us. So what can we do to help ourselves get past this? I think the first thing is to accept ourselves as we are. We are made in the image of the Creator, so we shouldn't be ashamed. We were made very good. So why do we spend our entire life trying to achieve a level of good and failing because of what we perceive as good in sort of society, when actually most of the images we see are heavily photoshopped, the best of 1,000 pictures, and of the 1%, let's be honest, when achieving good is never the goal, because we started out at very good, and so we don't need to strive to achieve good. We're already way above that. I think number 2, we need to celebrate innocence. We need to encourage children to be childlike for as long as possible, and then we need to emulate them. Now, I'm sure everyone is aware of the increasing terrifying amount of adultification and sexualization that goes on with children. We make them dress up like adults at a terrifyingly young age, when that's unhealthy. We pick an arbitrary time to tell them that their bodies are no longer innocent and they should be ashamed because parents thought they might be developing in some kind of way. We tell them to stop running around and having fun and being silly, when that's what being a kid is. That's what being a kid is. We throw them in school increasingly young. In Hong Kong, kids are learning and having tutors at 2 years old, whereas the schools with the most successful education programs don't start till 7, because they let them be kids. We tell our kids to be quiet at our churches, when actually interacting with each other, building positive relationships is a really positive thing that can really help them through life, particularly through those difficult years that are coming, because they are difficult. And then we're all too caught up in our own stuff, that we're afraid to have fun ourselves. We're afraid to emulate children. We're afraid to play with our children. And then we regret the fact that we were too busy. No one ever reaches the end of their life and says, I wish I'd done more work. People at the end of their life say, I wish I spent more time with friends and family. I wish I spent more time having fun. Absolutely universally. Number 3, I think we need to be honest with our young people. Honest in terms of the questions they ask, even if we might find them awkward. Honest in terms of setting expectations for them. Honest in terms of what they should expect from us. Because teenagers, hopefully, if we build up that level of trust with them, will ask awkward questions, because teenage life is awkward. You're going through stuff that you're not expecting. Partly because maybe you've not been told what to expect or shown what to expect in a sensible way. And if we're not careful, we will drive teenagers to look for answers elsewhere. And I don't just mean, okay, what does the body look like? Let's go and look at a porn website. But how can I deal with what I'm going through? Let's find someone selling drugs, or let's go to the off license and buy some cheap alcohol and go down a route that can be quite damaging really early on. Nothing wrong with enjoying the odd drink, but if it becomes an escape, that's a problem. Just kind of being honest with young people, not being ashamed of the questions they ask or the answers that they expect us to give. Telling them, what life is actually like is hugely important. Breaking them away from their screens that are showing them a twisted, sick, violent version of reality, and also a glossed over, photoshopped version of reality, neither of which is healthy. Be honest with our young people so they don't have to seek answers elsewhere. We need to not put limits on people that we meet, or allow them to limit us. We're all equal. We're different, but we're all equal. And we've got to remember that as Christians, we know, because Christ told us, that Christ has set us free through his truth. But wherever you're coming from, limiting people never has worked out. It's never benefited anybody by saying, you can't do this. There are still people in our church today, in our churches today, that's not like it. There are still people in our churches today who will take what Paul wrote in a oppressively patriarchal society, many would say misogynistic society, where women were treated as possessions and objects and were not educated, and use that as an excuse to limit what women can do in church today. But they have no problem ignoring the other parts of scripture which says about things like women keeping their head covered. Oh no, that doesn't apply anymore because women who had bare heads at that time were prostitutes. That's true. But why are you saying that doesn't apply anymore, but you're saying that women can't be active leaders in church? That's wrong. In the same way, you think about how the early missionaries went to clothe the savages. Well, what did that cause? Well, it caused massive destruction of culture. It caused inequality on a horrendous scale. It set the groundwork for slavery and racism that is still an issue today. Well-meaning, but ill thought out. We don't do that anymore, thankfully, as we seek to integrate with new cultures. We try and integrate with their cultures. But we limit people in so many ways. oh, you're from X, so you can't do that. You are gay, so you can't be this person. You are female. You are a different race. You are a different colour. You are a different religion, so you can't do this. That's not how the world is. We're free. We're equal. Don't limit others. And don't let people oppress you. If you are in a minority, whatever that minority is, or an oppressed group, stand up for yourself. Don't allow yourself to be forced into shame. Society has been, for years, centuries, oppressing people in so many ways. Whether it's expecting people to wear certain things. Think high heels on women. If you want to wear high heels, fine. But if you feel pressured to wear high heels, or specifically shaped underwear that malforms your body for the objectification of men, or whatever it is, headscarves, if you want to do that, that's fine, but don't allow yourself to be pressurized or limited by society that is trying to shame you. I think we need to be very careful to curate what goes in and what comes out, what we watch, what we listen to, what we say. It's all too easy, isn't it, to just kind of gloss over the fact that popular music today has never been as offensive as it is today in its language and its content. It's so sexual these days. It's so much nasty language in all sorts of ways. The same is true in films and television and video games. All the violence, all the sex, all the hatred. But if we're not conscious of what's going in, it can impact us inside. It can affect our brains. You know, they talk about how playing video games doesn't incite violence in most people. But the key word there is most people. There are some people it does affect in some kind of ways. And even if that way is just to increase isolation and make you depressed, that's a bad thing. So we need to curate what comes in and what goes out, how we speak, how we react to people on the internet. Are we reacting with love, or are we reacting out of anger? Finally, obviously this is particularly applicable to Christians, but it is hugely important for us to find people to connect with, to pray with, so that we can support each other, we can support our brothers and sisters. I am blessed to be able to host a prayer meeting on a Wednesday night with a group of guys. And it's a group of guys for the reason that we sometimes talk about guy stuff that maybe wouldn't be as comfortable to talk about in mixed company. Not kind of, nasty stuff or talking about women derogatory or anything like that, but talking about the challenges that are part of being a man in today's society. Finding people that we can connect with intimately and deeply. Who are our tribe? It used to be that we would live with our extended family all in one enclave. That doesn't happen anymore. But we need community. We need community that we can connect deeply on a personal level, that can support each other, that can challenge each other. Because all this will help us to build our esteem and feel like we can get past whatever shame is trapping us. Because shame is a trap. It is a chain, but it's one that we have the key for and we can get free from. And why would anyone want to carry shame? And then why would anyone want to put shame on other people? I don't get it. I hope this has helped. Comment down below if it has. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.